A windy evening here in Cordova. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Brett Elmore for WJLX. We are live in Cordova for the Cordova Economic and Industrial Development Authority Political Forum. We're at the Cordova Pavilion. If you are in the area and want to come by and check out tonight, we will have a whole list of local candidates going to be joining us here tonight speaking, including Sheriff Nick Smith will be here. All of the Walker County Superintendent candidates will then follow. Candidate Rhonda Davidson, Thomas Kaiser, Chris McCullough, and Dennis Willingham. Then we will have the House District 13 candidates, Greg Barnes, Keith Davis, Matt Dozier, Charlie Waits, and Matt Woods going to be here as well. We are waiting for them to get ready to go here as the sun begins to set in Cordova. And we will be live here in just a few minutes with the start of the political forum here in Cordova. We're in downtown Cordova, right across the street from the Piggly Wiggly. So stick around. We'll have all of the speeches from the local candidates coming up here on WJLX.
Good evening, everyone. Can I get your attention? I'd like to welcome all our citizens, all our candidates here tonight. We got some beautiful weather for this event. We're blessed with it. One little announcement. Since the bathrooms are not done, the side door on City Hall is open. The bathrooms are right to the right. You have to wave your arms to get the lights to come on, but they work. Of course, the Piggly Wiggly has bathrooms too until 8 o'clock, so feel free to use those. Salute the Veterans has the barbecue plates for sale. They say it's delicious. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I appreciate all the candidates being willing to come down to Cordova and talk to our citizens. At this time, I'm going to ask Brother Lee Withington to come and give the invocation from Long Memorial Methodist Church.
Had to bring it down just a little bit because. Good evening. How is everybody doing? That good, huh? Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Merciful God, we come before you tonight, thanking you for this opportunity that you've provided for us, the beautiful weather that you've given us in this venue, to where we can hear our candidates for the position that's coming available. And Father, we just ask that you bless those that are here with us. Bless our candidates as they speak from their hearts and for what they represent. And Father, it's our prayer that your will be done in this election, that the best possible candidate that will represent you and represent the people of Cordova, that they will be elected and that they will be all about your business and all about you and keeping you at the center of their lives. Father, we just thank you for all your many wonderful blessings. We pray that you will continue to bless Cordova, bless the citizens of Cordova, and Father, just bless us all with your grace and your mercy. We ask all this in the precious name of Jesus, and all of God's children said, amen.
At this time, we're going to have Lawrence Sides come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey guys, again, welcome to this beautiful city. This is our home, Cordova. My name is Aaron Mosley. I'm a volunteer with the Cordova Economic Industrial Development Authority here in Cordova. I'm a board member with them and I work on their events committee. I'm also a co-founder for Salute for Veterans, and we have a bunch of great guys right here in front selling barbecue plates for $10 a plate. So if you would, make your way down sometime this evening and get you some food. I would like to welcome everybody again. This is, like I said, our home. And it's really important that we know the platform of each candidate so we can make an informed decision on our ballot. And we just thank you all for coming down. At this time, I would like to welcome Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith. He will have 10 minutes, and each candidate will have 10 minutes to discuss their platform. I'm just kidding. The man of the hour, Senator Greg Reed, where you at? If you would come on up, we would like for him to make some announcements. He's got some exciting news.
Hey folks, good to see you tonight. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you. And I don't know that I wanted to jump in front of the sheriff. I mean, that might not be a good thing. But Sheriff, good to see you tonight. Let me say it's good to be in Cordova. My wife Mitzi is with me, and this is our hometown. And so we're excited to be here tonight. And I've got a few things that I want to say to you. It's an honor for me to serve as your senator. I've had that privilege for a number of years and being able to represent not only Cordova but all of Walker County, as well as Jefferson, Tuscaloosa, Fayette, and Winston counties are a part of my district, and it's a great privilege for me to serve. I've got two documents here that I brought with me that I want to put in your hand if you want them. They are the accomplishments of the Alabama legislature in the last legislative session. This one covers $160 million of tax cuts that are coming back to you, the people of Alabama. And then this particular sheet covers military, Second Amendment, broadband, improvements to education and raises for school teachers, support for farmers, securing Alabama's elections, as well as historic budgets, small business programs. I want you to have these and be able to get this information. So I'm going to have it, and I'll move around, and anybody that wants it, it'll be my job to try and get it to you. I want to thank Renee Sides, who's not here tonight. Lawrence said she worked on planning all this, but was a little bit under the weather and not able to be with us. But I've worked on several things. I think what you'll hear tonight from a number of the candidates is, what are you going to do for Cordova? Where's the mayor? There he is. Interested in the support for this city and for this community, and that's something that's important in each of us that look to represent our communities, being able to do things that are important for the folks that live there, and that garners support, and I'm sure you're going to hear quite a bit of that tonight. A couple of things that I just want to mention. I appreciate the mayor and his effort and work. Mayor, you and I have been working on some water and sewer projects for this city that are certainly needed, and I will continue to be committed to you on working on that. Also, I've worked with Ms. Sides, Renee, on a $4,000 grant for a tourism program that you're going to have here in the city on 4th of July. That's going to be a huge event for Cordova, and so I've worked with her on that particular program. But I've got another announcement that is of significance that I want to make now. But for just a minute, if you will allow me, I want to do a little bit of memory lane for Greg Reed, standing right here in Cordova. You know, we're standing just about where Marshall and Judy Wallace's gas station was when I was a kid. And I graduated from Cordova High School, went through all the Cordova schools. I remember when Bankhead School burned to the ground over here. I was in the school that day. First Baptist Church, that's where I met the Lord Jesus. I can remember standing right over there many times for a pep rally for the football team when the band and the cheerleaders and everybody would be right there in the middle of downtown. And Roy Bond was the police chief, and he would shut the street down, and we'd have a big pep rally. I remember the day, I saw Chief Harbison a minute ago. I remember the day that the tornadoes came through this community. Man, it was a tough day, but there's been a lot of recovery since, and many of you have been engaged in that process. I played football for the Cordova Blue Devils, and Mitzi was in the band, my wife, as well as she was a cheerleader, and man, she was the best looking cheerleader. The Lord blessed me with her, and we've been married for 34 years, and I got 3 sons, and it's a privilege for me to do something for Cordova High School. So I'm in a position to have enough influence with some support from Dr. Willingham. Dennis, I'm going to ask you to come up here if you will, because you're going to give an explanation that I can't give. But I have been able to secure $250,000 for Cordova High School to be able to finish the athletic football facilities that are associated with the new field house and all the upgrades that we've seen at Hudson Kirby Field. And that $250,000, there's been a lot of opportunities and resources that I've been able to work on in my district over the now almost 12 years that I've served in the Alabama Senate, certainly as being the majority leader and now the president of the state Senate. But I can't think of a thing that makes me any happier, any prouder than this announcement. So I'm going to ask the superintendent, who knows all the details of what this money is going to be used for Cordova High School and our football programs. I'm going to have him come and explain it, and then I'm going to be finished. Superintendent.
Thank you, Senator. I tell you, it's a great announcement. We're so very excited about this announcement that Senator Reed just made. You know, when I became superintendent, the project was underway to renovate the field house over there, and I'm telling you, that is one of the most spectacular field houses that you can step in. We are so proud of the work that's done over there for those Blue Devils. But one thing I noticed was we were out of money on the project, and there's a lot of rubble that's left from the old field house where Greg Reed used to dress when he blocked for Bay Bay Bridges back in the 80s. You old Blue Devil. So there was a lot of rubble there, and it was a great safety concern for me. So I called Senator Reed, and I said, Senator Reed, I'm looking over this, and I think we need $250,000. And he said, let me work on that. I'll see what I can do. 2 days later, I get a call from the State Superintendent of Education. He said, Dennis, I understand you need $250,000 at Cordova for safety concerns. I said, yes, sir, I do. And he said, well, we're going to get that for you. And so we've already received that check, and we've already got plans in the work. I've been talking with Dr. Beatty. Vonda Beatty, where are you? Your board member, Vonda Beatty, with Elisa Brown, the principal, and I came and met with the quarterback club and talked with them. And we've got a grand plan there for that entranceway to that football field. So when those Blue Devils come out of that field house, they're going to come into kind of a grove. It's going to look like a college stadium. And when they come down there and there's flags flying and the band's playing and they come on that football field, you're going to have chills. This is something that we are so excited about. We did this in conjunction with Senator Reed, in conjunction with State Superintendent Eric Mackey, and we've already met with the architecture twice. So we've got the ball rolling, and we are so excited for the Cordova Blue Devils.
Thank you, Dr. Willingham. Thank you all. God bless you. Thanks for letting me have some of your time tonight and participate. And now it's time for the sheriff, I think.
Good afternoon. I'm Nick Smith. I'm your sheriff. I've been serving for 3.5 years now, and Cordova holds a special place in my heart. I was the police chief here for 8 years, and it holds a dear place in my heart. My children played sports here in the 8 years. My wife and I tried to make this place a second home, and my son Dylan, he played football all the way through Toy Bowl and got to play for a lot of championships and won a lot of games, Jake. I appreciate that. That's memories that we'll never forget, and that's things that special to me here in Cordova. We played a lot of baseball here, so Cordova's near and dear to my heart. And when I decided that I wanted to run for sheriff, there's days I still miss Cordova, but there was things that I wanted to do for the entire county, and a lot of things that we were accomplishing here in Cordova. I see Larry, he was one of my councilmen here, and I had a lot of support here. There's a lot of support for law enforcement here in Cordova, which helped make me successful here in Cordova. So I just want to take the time. I'm not going to take 10 minutes. I'm running unopposed, but I want to tell you some of the things that we have accomplished the last 3.5 years since I've been sheriff. When I took over as sheriff in 2019, it was no secret that we were #1 in the state of Alabama for drug overdose deaths and 5th in the nation per capita. And I knew that had to change because I got small children that have to be raised in this county, and that's something that just wasn't acceptable. And that's something that I wanted to change by being elected sheriff. So when I took office, one of the first things we did was to focus on creating a drug task force and a way to send the message that drugs weren't going to be tolerated in Walker County. And in 3.5 years, we've arrested over 2,000 people for drug offenses. We've executed 201 search warrants. We've arrested 610 drug dealers and 75 drug traffickers. Along with that, we've created programs to help those that are suffer from alcohol and drug addiction through our Mercy Project. Our Mercy Project is if you suffer from drug or alcohol addiction, you can come to the sheriff's office and request help, and we'll get you help free of charge. So we're doing a lot of good things at the sheriff's office. And when I ran for office, I made a lot of promises, and a lot of promises that I intended to keep. And I was told that those promises, I was just making promises that it was something that we couldn't do. And one of the biggest goals that I had was I looked around at Jefferson County, Coleman County, Blount County, and all of our surrounding counties, and I thought, well, if they can do it, why can't Walker County? So one of the things that was my platform 3.5 years ago was put a SRO in every one of our county schools. And we could do it through 2 phases, which phase 1 was Curry, Valley, and Lupton, which their sole jurisdiction is the county. Their service, law enforcement service, was the county. And then phase 2 was for all of our municipal police forces. And we've been able to accomplish that with the help of the Walker County Commission, the Board of Education, Dr. Willingham, and the board. We've been able to make that a reality. We have a school resource officer in every one of our county schools to protect our children. And that's something to be proud of. It's something that's never happened for Walker County. Talk about our property crimes. So our property crimes, since I've been in office, have decreased for about 47%. Our investigative division has a 67% solve rate, which is very impressive because the national average for solve rate on property crimes is about 13% on the 13% on the national average. What we've done, we've grown a little bit. We have 4 investigators that investigate property crimes. We have a north, south, east, and west investigator that works each side of the county. We have a captain that is the supervisor of that division. We also have 2 investigators that work sex crimes, and we have 1 major crimes investigator that investigates all of our major crimes. One of the biggest additions that we made, it was one of the promises that I made, we hired 2 individuals. We got Mike Cole and Joe Harron. They're 2 part-time, which they work that job like it's a full-time job. They're our cold case investigators. We have a lot of cold cases in Walker County, and those guys have done an outstanding job. Cold cases are cold for a reason. They're very hard and difficult cases to solve, but they've already got one murder that they've solved that was a cold case that, and they're working on many, many more. So that's just some of the things we've been able to do. We got 14 community programs. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I already touched on the Mercy Project, but our Good Morning program. Our Good Morning program is something that I established when I was here at Cordova. It's if you're an adult over the age of 65 or older, or adult with a disability. Our dispatch calls you every morning, wishes you a good morning, and if you don't answer the phone, we send a deputy sheriff out to your residence to check on you. That's been a very successful program for us. We've got programs for our youth, which through our Explorer program, our Mr. Detective program, our Little Miss Sheriff program. So we've got a lot of programs that we're trying to establish to get the community involvement. There's not an event anywhere in this county that you won't see the sheriff's office. And that was one of the promises that I made. I wanted to be in the community that we serve, and I want people to know who our law enforcement is. And I want them to build a relationship with the law enforcement in their community. And one of the things I think that we've accomplished that we've been really successful with is when I took office, we had 400 people that was in a county jail that only holds 280 beds. Today, we average 200. So it means that we're making progress here in Walker County. We've partnered with a lot of our local churches. Our local churches come in, they do a lot of ministry. Just in the last year was really when it's really started to get off the ground, the last year and a half. They've had 120 salvations and 140 people baptized inside the county jail. And I understand a lot of people get they get jailhouse religion, but I always say that if we can change one life, while they're in that jail, we change an entire family, and then we change the culture, and we change the crime, we change everything about Walker County if we can just change that one family and break that chain of addiction. And I'll leave you with this. Law enforcement is in a fight every day. We fight to stay one step ahead, if we're even ahead. But we fight every day to stay one step ahead of the criminal element in this county. And we have to make sure that we send local and state people in these elected positions to support law enforcement, not defund law enforcement, because it's a very difficult job, and our citizens of Walker County deserve the best law enforcement that they can get, just like every other county around us, but it takes proper funding. So make sure when you mark that ballot for a local or state office that they support law enforcement. Thank you.
Sheriff Smith, your attention to getting drugs off the street is of utmost importance. However, what are your plans aside from that issue that you intend to focus on during your next term?
Wasn't sure I had a follow-up question, but some of the things I want to focus on going on to this next term, one of the biggest issues that I think that we need to address is mental health. And what I want to do is at the sheriff's office, we're actually in the process of it now, is trying to create a mental health officer through the sheriff's office that can help deal with mental calls and things of that nature when our deputy sheriffs go out and have to deal with mental patients. And it's something that we've been striving for. Also, that we're going to make sure that our deputy sheriffs this next term get all the training that they need to help deal with that situation. Also, our radios is a big, and communications is a big topic for this next term. So for the last 10 years, just about every city, I dealt with it when I was in Cordova, every city, every town, every county knew that the radio system was going to change to broadband. And when that change happened, they give everybody 10 years to prepare for that. So when I took office, that had already happened. So now we're stuck with basically cell phones that we communicate instead of like the old traditional in-car radios and the radios you see the deputies with their side. So we got the AT&T push-to-talk. Well, that works in some areas, it doesn't. So sometimes when you get south of Parish and you get over into Empire or Nauvoo, you're on your own. You don't have any cell phone service. You don't have any radio. You don't have any radio communications. So that's something that we're preparing for. It's a very costly thing. I'm working with Senator Reid right now to try to help us get some funding to meet that need, because it's eventually going to hurt. It's eventually going to cause one of our deputy sheriffs to get hurt when they need help the most. Recovery programs, I want to focus on more recovery programs. We're in the process of trying to take one of our dorms now that our population is manageable. It's about 200 daily. We want to take one of those dorms and create it into a recovery dorm. That way people, when they come into jail and you throw somebody that really truly wants recovery into a group of people who don't want recovery, it's harder for them to recover. So we want to take and create a dorm to where that dorm, that people who have made that commitment that they really truly want recovery, that we can get them the resources that they need, bring people inside the jail that can help them get that recovery. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Smith. I will say on behalf of Salute for Veterans, CEIDA, and the City of Cordova, that we respect and honor our law enforcement members. We understand the grueling tasks that y'all go through every day, and we just want to say thank you for everything that you do. At this time, I would like to welcome our 4 candidates for Walker County Superintendent. If you would, when I call your name, please come up and have a seat in front of the flag. Candidate Rhonda Davidson, Candidate Thomas Kaiser, Candidate Chris McCullough, and Candidate Dennis Willingham. Again, each candidate will have 10 minutes for their introduction and speech. At the conclusion of that time, we will have another question posed to each candidate where they will have to think on their feet and give a solid response. However, at this time, I would like to welcome candidate Thomas Kaiser to the podium.
Good evening. First of all, I would like to thank CEIDA for allowing us to come out and speak tonight. Also, I would like to thank Senator Greg Reed for all his support for Walker County Schools, as well as Nick Smith for all that they do to ensure that we have safe schools. So first of all, I would like to share a little bit about myself. I've been in education for 20 years. I'm currently engaged to Stephanie Fisher, veteran teacher, have 2 children. I'm currently serving as the principal at Parish Elementary School. I've been in school administration for about 11 years. So why am I running for superintendent of education? Of course, I want to improve the Walker County school system by offering innovative learning experiences. I want us to move forward. And number 2, as I am, along with many others, tired of the political agendas and promises that have harmed our school system for far too long. When I'm out speaking to people in communities, that's one of the things that they share with me. Who have you promised jobs to at the central office? Who have you promised principal jobs to? Well, I can tell you I have promised no one any jobs. So that is my number 1 goal, to end politics and hire the folks who can do the best job in all positions. Give everybody a fair chance to interview and share with me and prove to me and provide evidence that they will do the best job rather than based off of a promise and help from a campaign. Also, transparency is very important to me. You guys, this is your money. So you guys should know what's going on at all times in every school and at the central office. And sometimes we don't do a good job at that. But we owe it to you to let you know how your money is being spent, and is it being spent in the most effective way. So what I would like to do is I would like to develop a budget committee made up of many stakeholders all over the county, and then mid-year have a review and make sure that we're really following through with what we said we were going to do with our budget. I want to establish true equity in our schools. This is not the case, and it hasn't been the case in many, many years. True equity is when you look at a school and you determine what that school's need is based off of the students and the teachers and the community that we're looking at. So all schools do not need the same things. We need to dig in and decide on what really needs to be offered at each school and funded at each school. So once again, my goal as superintendent of education is to ensure that we stop putting people in positions that shouldn't be in positions. This is what you guys, many of you guys have shared with me, this is what you're tired of, and I'm tired of it too. I want our county to move forward, and we're not going to move forward until we put a stop to that. So if you would, I would appreciate your vote on May the 24th. Thank you.
And now we will welcome candidate Chris McCullough to the podium.
Good evening. It's good to be here in Cordova. appreciate the veterans. I appreciate everybody coming out. My name is Chris McCullough. I'm an educator. I'm not a politician. I actually don't like politics, but it is a necessary part of this endeavor that I've began. I'm the Career and Technical Education Director for Walker County Schools. I've been there for 8 years at the Walker County Center of Technology. Before that, I was an agri-science teacher at Curry High School for 13 years. I was at Parrish High School for 3 years. I started the ag program there. My first year teaching, I taught chemistry and physical science. So this is my 25th year in education. I love teaching. I love making a positive difference in the lives of students. And I felt like I did that every day as an ag teacher. I love teaching and I miss it now. At that point in time, 8 years ago, I prayed about it when this job came open, and I felt like I could make a bigger difference in the lives of more students by stepping forward and stepping up, and that's what I did. I've been the Career and Technical Education Director for 8 years now. We serve 721 students a day from Walker County and Jasper City. We serve 5 county high schools, 1 city high school. In addition to the 11 programs that I have now at the Center of Technology, I also have 3 career and technical education teachers at each of my county high schools. I have an agri-science teacher, a business teacher, and a family and consumer science teacher. I work with all the county high schools each and every day to ensure that our students are college and career ready. We also work in partnership with Jasper City Schools to maximize what we do. I believe in being efficient with the resources that we have available, and when we share resources, we give more opportunity to our students. We allow Jasper City students to come and partake in programs that we have, and in return, they allow us to send our county students over across the street and partake in programs that they have that we don't have. Saying that, I love my job right now. I didn't think I could love anything more than being an ag teacher, but I really feel like I make a difference now as a career and technical education director. I think we have probably one of the best career and technical education programs in the state of Alabama. I have people all the time calling from all parts of the state wanting to know what we're doing so they can make theirs better and more like ours. But I've prayed about it again, and I feel like it's time to step up again. I think I can make an even bigger difference now as your superintendent, and that's the reason I'm running. A little bit about myself. I grew up on a farm in North Walker County, Rose Hill. If y'all don't know, that's about as far up 195 you can get before you cross into Winston County. Live on a farm there. Lived on that farm my whole life. Very thankful for that. Very thankful for my mom and dad. A lot of hard work, a lot of solid character building values that I didn't necessarily understand at the time, but I certainly do understand now. All that's made me into the man that I am now. And I'm very thankful. I went to Auburn, and I came back home, and I was able to move back to that farm. I married my wife, Amy, and we'll be married 24 years this June. I have 2 children, one Noah, he's 16. He's a student at Carbon Hill in the 10th grade. Oakley, she's at Curry Middle School, and she's 12 years old. I'm very thankful for them to be able to be on that same farm and grow up on it and learn as I did. I'm asking for you to elect me superintendent of Walker County Schools to make a positive difference in the lives of all students by providing them with the most possible opportunities. It's all about opportunities. And the main reason I'm running right now is because opportunities have been taken away. 2 years ago, 5 of our highest wage, highest demand programs at the Walker County Center of Technology were cut. They were taken away. In the paper it said that I had input in that, but I did not have input in that. Actually, I was told it'd be in my best interest not to talk to the paper that day, so I didn't. These pathways were some of our highest wage, highest demand. They affected 241 students across Walker County that lost these pathways. These pathways are gone. That superintendent worked 2 years and left for Bevel State. His assistant superintendent took over. Now, we are spending $700,000 a year to Bevel State for dual enrollment programs, including career tech. I plan to change that. we can bring those programs and more back with that money spent. He said a while ago, when he became superintendent, that work was already underway. And that is correct. That work was already underway. And the reason I'm running is because I believe there's more work underway. I'm here for the students. I'm not here for me. I'm here about opportunities for your students. Opportunities bring about options. Options bring about value. It's about increasing the value of our students so they can go anywhere and do anything they want to do. And that's what I'm about. I will let the leaders lead and the teachers teach. I'm an educator, not a politician. I'm a fourth-generation educator. My mom's right there. She taught 25 years. I'm a fourth-generation farmer. My dad's right there. I know how to work hard. I know how to make more with less. I know how to make do with what you have, and I know how to work hard. And if you vote for me for superintendent, I will do that every day. I humbly ask for your vote and your support for superintendent of Walker County Schools. Thank you.
And now I will introduce candidate Dennis Willingham.
Hello again. This is a very special week in education. This is Teacher Appreciation Week. Let me tell you something. It's been tough for teachers this year. It's been tough for teachers for the last couple of years. I think it's safe to say that these have been the most stressful times in recent history that teachers have ever gone through. We do have a lot of teachers out here now. We have some retired teachers. If you would raise your hand, because we're going to clap for you. If you would raise your hand if you're a teacher. If you work in the school system, raise your hand. If you drive a bus, if you're a support worker, raise your hand. Let's give them a hand. Thank you for taking care of our children. I sincerely mean that. It is great to be in Cordova, Alabama. I was raised across the river in Argo. We were confused. My brother Ricky's sitting out there. Ricky, we were confused because I know what Cordova's zip code is. It's 35550. Is that right? Because that was my zip code. But my telephone number was from Dora, and I paid my water bill in Summerton, so we were very confused. And back then, if you had friends in Cordova or Jasper, you had to drive to the Frosty Mug and use the payphone to talk to them because we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have long distance. So a lot of great memories from growing up across the river over there. Played a lot of softball up here on this field where that high school sits. A lot of softball. That was the highlight of the spring, was to come and play softball. There's some Harbisons out there. I saw them. Charles, I see you back there. We battled with those Harbisons year after year after year. I heard what you said. You said we won. We won some too. Yeah. We have some great memories in Cordova, Alabama. I want to talk with you about my family. I am Dennis Willingham. I'm the baby of 5 boys. Clarence Willingham was my dad. Martha Willingham, my mom. She'll turn 90 in August, and she's doing fine. My wife is Jennifer Altman Willingham. My daughter is Isabella. She is a sophomore. She's finishing up at Bevel. She played on the tennis team and also was president of the ambassadors there. My son is an 11th grader at Oatman High School, and his name is Dre. I grew up in Argo First Baptist Church, and I've been going there since I was born. It's been an honor to serve there as a deacon for over 20 years now. I was blessed to start in education as a special education teacher. And I've often said that every teacher, I wish every teacher could teach their first year in special education because you would appreciate a lot of things a lot more. I was blessed to be able to do that, kindergarten to 12th grade. I've got teaching experience from elementary to middle to high school. I've got administrative experience. I've been an administrator at the elementary, middle school, high school level. And then at the central office, I've been the elementary director. I've been the supervisor of principals and doing their evaluations. And then as assistant superintendent for a couple of years, and now I've been blessed to be superintendent. I've had a fantastic career in education, and I've never had a job I didn't like, whether it be teaching, coaching, or administration. Some of the firsts that we've accomplished, I say we because I have a fantastic team. I have a fantastic Board of Education, and I'm not just saying that because Vonda Beatty's out there. I have a fantastic Board of Education. We work really well together. For the first time ever, we've been able to give all of our students free school supplies this year. That's never been done. All 7,000 students, free school supplies. We've also been able to get all of our students, I'm very passionate about this next one because I could not afford to go to college. My dad was a disabled veteran, and the GI Bill paid my college. And when I became superintendent, I said, I don't want a kid to ever say, I can't afford to go to college, so I'm not going. So what we're doing today is any high school student in Walker County, we're paying for their college. We've got 155 students today that are getting free books, free tuition, and free fees paid by the Walker County Board of Education. We're proud of that. Another first for us is we've been very blessed since I've been superintendent, and we've saved near $300,000 in attorney's fees in the last 2 years. We need athletic trainers in our schools. We've never had an athletic trainer assigned to every high school. This is not just for athletes. This is for band members. This is for any extracurricular activity. And now we've been able, this upcoming year, with ATI, we secured a deal so that we have an athletic trainer in every high school, and we're really proud about that. There's so many things that we've accomplished, and I could just stand up here and talk for 30 minutes, and I'm not going to do that because you didn't come just to hear me talk. But I do want to say this. Communication and trust is very important to me. I'm in the schools every week. Let me say that again because I stand behind it. Ask some of these school folks. I'm in the schools every week. That's important to me to get to know the students. I do job shadowing. I've job shadowed in 17 schools this year. I've been a welding instructor. I was a secretary at Cordova High School. Good morning, Cordova High School. How may I help you? I learned how to do that. I've been a lunchroom lady. I've been a STEM teacher, and I've learned so much from my job shadowing and also just from visiting schools every week. The greatest honor for me is when a kid sees me out somewhere and calls me Dr. Willingham. And I have to say, what school are you from and what is your name? Because they recognize me. What a great honor that is. I can remember I was job shadowing up here in Miss Pageant's class, in her math class, as she was doing a STEM lesson. And the next weekend, Will, what is Will's last name? We'll just say it's Will, okay? Dawkins. It just came to me. Will Dawkins came up to me in a flower shop and said, is that really you, Dr. Willingham? And I said, it's really me. And he said, you came and shadowed in my class this week. And I said, I sure did, Will. And we had a fantastic time learning about math. I went to the Lupton Boots and Saddle Club and spoke the other day. They invited me to come out there and speak to them. Great bunch of people up there. And there was a little girl, a second grader from Curry. She had on shorts and cowboy boots. And her mom came up and said, my daughter pointed at you and said, Mommy, he goes to school with me. Now, I've never received a greater compliment than that for that little second grade girl to think that I'm a student with her at Curry Elementary School because she's seen me in that school so much. My wife and I were eating in Carbon Hill one night, and there's a young man bussing tables. And he came up to me and he said, excuse me, are you Dr. Willingham? And I said, yes, sir, I am. And he said, he stuck his hand out. He said, I just want to thank you for adding that welding class out at WCCT because had you not done that, I would not have been able to take welding this year. It's things like that that really motivate me, you know. It's the communication and the trust out there, not with the adults, but with the kids. That's what motivates me. Another thing that motivates me is the recognition that the Walker County school system is getting throughout the state of Alabama. We are a P3 model in the state of Alabama. So we have first-class pre-K. We have 21 pre-K classrooms where we teach 4-year-olds across our county. That's one of the largest conglomerates of pre-K in the state of Alabama. P3 means that we take those same hands-on concepts and we teach them in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. That's the P3 model. I was honored to be asked to speak at the superintendent's conference. There's 138 superintendents, and I was one of 10 asked to present. I took my team from Walker County to present what we were doing in Walker County. From that, I was contacted by the class organization. They did a statewide virtual model with hundreds of people from across the state, educators and administrators. My team presented on that. I was further honored when Sanford University contacted me and said, we want you to present to our doctoral program with candidates from throughout the Southeast. So my team presented P3 to them. That's a statewide model. We're also recognized nationwide as our elementary director will be going to Jacksonville, Florida to present to the National Association of Elementary School Principals this summer. There's some great things going on in the Walker County school system, and I'm really excited about them. I visited Cordova Elementary School today with Diane Williams, the principal there. By the way, Cordova's an A school, A, statewide on the report card. They are an A school. Alabama.com, surely you've heard of them. They were there interviewing Diane Williams this morning. She invited me to participate in the interview, and we had a fantastic interview there. I can't wait to see that interview, by the way, Diane. Cordova Elementary is an AL.com high flyer school. There's only a few of those in the state selected. Cordova is one of them. Cordova Elementary is also a U.S. News and World Report Best Schools. They're one of the few. So we're proud of what's going on in our school system. Where, Judson, are you still here? He's not. Okay, that's Charles's grandson. Judson is a Bankhead student, and he's packing his bags because Cordova Elementary and Bankhead won the right to go to Dallas, Texas this weekend to compete in the world robotics competition. Judson and the other students will be competing against China, Japan, Morocco, Egypt, Canada, and I can't remember the other 20 countries, but they're competing in the world competition. That's Cordova Elementary and Bankhead. Those are the great things. Give them a hand. Those are the great things that's going on in the Walker County school system. We have Skills USA, the competition there for our WCCT students. We have some students who have qualified to go to the national competition. So we're not just making noise statewide, we're making noise nationwide. And it's an honor for me to stand before you as superintendent of the Walker County school system and humbly ask that you vote for Dennis Willingham on May 24th. Thank you.
Give me one moment to let this train go by. Okay, guys, so I would like to take this time, let you know that candidate Rhonda Davidson could not be here tonight. However, she did post a statement on Facebook. I would just like to take a minute and read that to you guys. It says, "I will not be at Cordova's political rally tonight. However, we were given a question to answer, so I will answer my question on here. I was asked what my plans are for Cordova. My plans are the same for every school in our system. That is to provide them with the people and the tools they need to educate our children. All schools have different needs, and as superintendent, it would be my job to do everything within my power to provide these needs. In the future, I would like to see a new elementary school there. I would also like to see a facility on campus where we host and train other educators on robotics in our system and outside of our system. Finally, I would like to see a new football field that is no longer in the hole. Cordova Elementary was my first job in Walker County. I have many fond memories there and love to see them soar." End quote. Now I will pose a question to each candidate. It will be the same question. I will pose it to each candidate and have them come up and give their 5-minute response. Candidate Thomas Kaiser. Cordova is blessed with outstanding schools. However, there is always room for improvement. What do you see as Cordova Schools' pathway forward for the future academically, physically, and socially? You have 5 minutes.
As we all know, Cordova Elementary, Bankhead Middle School, Cordova High School are awesome schools. As Dr. Willingham was sharing about Cordova Elementary, they earned an A, and they've earned an A for the past several years on their state report card. They do an awesome job. So we need to pay more attention to what they're doing rather than trying to change things that they're doing that's made them be so successful. That's one of the things we must do to improve our elementary schools. One of the things I would ensure that we do is we build a brand new elementary school. If you haven't been to the elementary school, they make it work. They do a great job there. It looks great to be built in 1953, but it's time that they get a new school. Also, we need more ball fields for our middle school. When we have high school and middle school games going on at the same time, there's a conflict. So we could look at when we build the new school to add a complex there to meet the needs of the baseball and softball for middle school, and also when we host tournaments for the Cordova schools. One of the things that I noticed, we need to do more work in our football stadium, and one of the things I noticed is the press box. The press box needs to be replaced. The stadium needs a lot of work, so I would ensure that would happen as well. At the high school level, we do a great job, but one of the things I hear people say, and I agree, is we need intervention teachers to help move our high school students. They are struggling too after the pandemic, so they need support too. So I would ensure that we hired intervention teachers to serve our high school students. We do that at the elementary and middle school level. We need that at the high school levels. And then also, we need to ensure that we're offering robotics to all of our schools. And we can look into our Cordova schools to see how to best do that at all of our schools. Socially, one of the things that we face daily at every school is mental illness. So I'll promise to ensure to continue the funding to have counselors on campus, and I'm not referring to school counselors, which do a great job. I'm referring to the certified counselors that help our students on a daily basis. I have multiple students that depend on those counselors to help them through the day, each day. Also, one of the things that we're facing in many of our communities in Walker County, including Cordova, is housing. Now, I'd work closely with the mayors and some of the state representatives on increasing. There's nowhere for people to live. So that, numbers keep going down in our system. Each year, we lose students countywide. All 3 schools in Cordova's enrollment did go down this past year, as well as in most Walker County schools. So until we improve the housing opportunities in our communities, we're not going to be able to move forward in increasing the population and offering better things for our students. Thank you.
Candidate Chris McCullough. I will read the question again. Cordova is blessed with outstanding schools. However, there is always room for improvement. What do you see as Cordova Schools' pathway for the future, academically, physically, and socially? You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Evening again. Pathway to the future's got to be paved with opportunity. Just a lot about what I talked about before. We have a great opportunity because we have some great people here in Cordova. We have one of the most powerful senators in the state that is right here from Cordova. I'd like to thank Greg Reed for everything he has done for Cordova and everything he has done for Walker County and throughout his entire district. For 8 years, I've been working to get a new career tech center in Walker County. Greg Reed, if memory serves me correct, I think you went with me on one of those trips to Tuscaloosa. Did you go with me to Muscle Shoals? We went to a couple of the elite career tech centers in the state, and that's my goal and that's my vision. I've been working at that for quite a while. I've run across some roadblocks. I've talked to Greg about it probably for 8 years or longer. We just got to figure out how to make it happen. But I've learned about some things from some other states. We had a lady from Massachusetts that came to talk to us on Power Schools training. And she talked to me about a career academy. It was an apprenticeship academy. And I think this would fall right in line with what Governor Ivey's been trying to do. I've been endorsed by the Central Alabama Construction Trades, and they're made up of 14 apprenticeship programs. I can see working with groups like this and building a state-of-the-art career academy in Walker County in which students from all over the county and the city come to either for a half a day or for all day. We'll have core teachers there, we'll have career tech teachers there, and they'll flip-flop, either on a daily, every other day, or every other week. We can do that, and then about 1:30, 2 o'clock every day, those students will be on my road. Then about 1:30, 2 o'clock every day, those students can go back to Cordova, go back to Curry, go back to Carbon Hill, and participate in athletics. But the reason I think this is a win-win, how many would like to be one level lower classification? I think every school would be. And I think that would be a win-win for us all. I think it would be a more efficient use of what units we have, and I think it would be a win-win for everybody. It would provide more opportunity, more options, and more value. The main thing I wanted to say is I've not promised anybody anything. I've not promised one person a job. The only thing that I promise the parents, teachers, and students of Walker County that you and your family can trust me. I will stay the course, and I will work the job. And I will do the absolute best I can. I humbly ask for your support and your vote for Superintendent, Walker County Schools.
Candidate Dennis Willingham. Again, Cordova is blessed with outstanding schools. However, there is always room for improvement. What do you see as Cordova's schools' pathway forward, academically, physically, and socially? You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. You know, I talked a lot about Cordova academics when I was up here the first time. I do want to mention something. There's so much. I mean, you know, this week we had 2 schools in the Walker County school system that were the first schools in the state of Alabama to reach level 1 in Marzano's high reliability schools. First schools in the state of Alabama. Dora High School was the first high school. Bankhead Middle School was the first middle school to reach level, first in the state of Alabama now. I mean, this is fantastic. At the elementary school, we know that we have a learning gap there. We know that we've got third graders that have never had a normal school year ever in their school career. So what we did was we took our funding, we looked at our data, we put auxiliary teachers. We've got 2 extra auxiliary teachers in kindergarten at Cordova right now. Also, we added a transitional teacher. So we took 10 students who were struggling last year in kindergarten, and we put them in a classroom. And that's a transitional classroom. And those students, all students have scored above 97% proficiency throughout the course of the school year. Now that's solid data there. Also at Bankhead Middle School, for the first time ever, we brought career technical education to every middle school in the Walker County school system. We invested $325,000 on We Build It Better kits. We Build It Better kits. Miss Avery was talking to me about that today. She had been to the University of Alabama with a lot of other teachers for some professional development. She said they're jealous. I told them about We Build It Better, and they're jealous of the Walker County school system because we have that here. Basically what that does is it introduces students to career technical education. It puts tools in their hands. It puts meters in their hands that they can read electrical currents. It puts coding devices in their hands. It introduces them to career technical education, and we're proud of that. As far as social and emotional goes, we know the anxiety that a lot of our kids are facing right now. We know that that's a big deal. We've got to get them comfortable and feeling safe before they can ever go any farther with their learning. So we do have a resource officer here that, in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department, that is assigned to the Cordova school system, or the Cordova schools here. We also have a certified mental health therapist that's assigned to the Cordova schools here. That's for our kids. And finally, as far as the physical aspect goes, there's some safety problems in that stadium. And the quarterback club walked me through that and showed them to me, and we've already got a plan to fix those. We've got some walls that are leaning, and we're going to take care of that. We got a handrail that needs to go up. We're going to take care of that. And as I said before, the main thing is all that rubble with all that mold and mildew on it right there at the football field. Thank you, Senator Reed, for committing to help us with that, to be sure that we take care of that so that our students and our fans and our football players are safe at all times. It's all about partnerships. You folks, where's Sheriff Smith? Is that legal? You folks have a fantastic mayor in Mr. Pate, and we have a fantastic partnership. Anything we need, we just call, and he says, I'll help you. I'll do what I can to help you over there, and he backs it up too. Have a fantastic partnership with the industrial board here, with Renee Sides. We partnered with them to make sure that that trail down there at Cane Creek goes all the way around and all the way to Disney down there for our students to use and for the general public to use. We are excited about everything we have going on at Cordova. Dr. Beatty, is she still out there? I see her. It is in our capital improvement plan for a new school at Cordova Elementary School. Now, I'm not going to sit over here. I'm not going to sit here and tell you something that you just want to hear that may not happen. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's in our plan, and we're going to do everything we can to make it happen. Thank you, sir.
As a member of CEIDA, I would like to say that we are a sports town here in Cordova, but also we're much more than that. And we like to find ways to give back to other demographics, especially the robotics team that's going to the Worlds in Dallas. Recently, we voted as a group unanimously to donate $3,600 to cover all registration fees for any team from Cordova that's going to the robotics competition in Dallas. Also, the trail that they're referring to is a walking / running / hiking trail that goes from Cane Creek. I'm sorry, the Blue Way entrance of Cane Creek on Gardner's Gin Road, along Cane Creek all the way to Disney Lake, and that was a a project that's been in the work for some time to try to get cross-country athletics into our school system here. I will end by saying that I truly am thankful for every educator, administrator here that invests their time into our children. They are our future. Thank you for keeping them safe at our schools. Sheriff Smith, thank you for having a resource officer in every school, and we just thank you for the hard work that you guys do. Thank you. All right, guys, so just as a reminder, we do have the Daily Mountain Eagle here. They're covering this rally. And we also have WJLX with us. They are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So if you have somebody that would like to be here and couldn't, if you'll just call them, contact them, tell them to tune in, and they can hear everything that's going on. Okay, at this time, we will introduce our House District 13 candidates. When I call your name, please come up and have a seat in one of the chairs in front of the flag. Candidate Greg Barnes, Candidate Keith Davis, Candidate Matt Dozier, Candidate Charlie Waits, and Candidate Matt Woods. Again, each candidate will have 10 minutes to speak. At that conclusion, I will pose the same question to each candidate, in which they will have 5 minutes to respond. If you're hungry, don't forget Salute for Veterans is selling barbecue plates and drinks right here. Our first candidate to speak this evening for the House District 13 is candidate Greg Barnes.
Thank you, everyone in Cordova, for coming out. I'm going to do something a little different tonight that we haven't done, and I want to see some participation from the audience, which is huge in being a representative because this is the constituency. How many people here tonight live in Cordova? I just want to see, kind of look out and see how many. Okay, about 10. Okay. All right, I just kind of wanted to know that. I am a very participative and will be the most participative representative you've ever had, I can assure you of that. I will be in constant touch with you and the rest of District 13. I have time to do that, which I am totally retired now. I will be a full-time and will be the only full-time candidate for District 13. I will devote every day to serving District 13 and the people of District 13. This will not be a part-time job or when I get off my regular job. It won't be like that for me, I can assure you. Anytime something needs to be done, if Senator Reed calls me and asks me to go do something, I can assure you I'm going to be on the job when he needs me to go do it. If the mayor of Cordova calls me, I'm going to be able to come out and see him, meet with the council, or anyone in District 13 of the other cities. Being available is extremely important. I talk to people about that all the time, and that's important to everyone that I speak with. When I come to Cordova, one of the things that I label Cordova as Walker County's sleeping giant. It has 2 rail systems. It has the river, has 2 accesses to I-22. There's no reason that I can imagine why this city is not thriving. I will work diligently to make that happen. Being a retired developer and builder and contractor, it makes me qualified to assist in making those things happen for this area. When I see these roads and streets, I'm blown away by some of the streets around here. I hear that every day out on the campaign trail. What can you do about our roads and our streets? All I can do as a candidate is sympathize with you, but if I'm your official, I can assure you when I'm down in Montgomery, I'll work diligently every day to bring funding, get grants. I won't leave a stone unturned to help get these roads around this entire area fixed and in good repair. That pretty much tells you about anything Cordova needs. I'm going to be there to assist them, along with the other cities that are in District 13. I'm going to not take my full 10 minutes. I have my brochures with me. It gives you the layout of my platform. I can sit here and itemize and tell you the things I'm for, you know, as far as term limits and various things like that. I'll never vote for a tax, I can assure you of that. I will always vote to put any taxation before the people that are going to be taxed. I'll never support or vote for one without a voter referendum. So I want you to know that. I'm real strong about the voters having a say in their life. I don't like government controlling what we do at all. I'm a people person, I'm for the people, and I want the people to decide what they want. The government works for us, we don't work for them. We've lost sight of that. Our elected officials work for us. That's their job, is to be there when you need them and to listen to you and help you get what it is that you want, your desires, passed, or at least work on it and do the best you can do. I'm going to end with that. I will do you the best job that I'm possibly capable of doing every day, not just sometimes. I'll be there when you need me, and I will not let you down, I guarantee it. You won't be disappointed in my performance. Have a good night, and thank you for coming out.
Our next speaker is candidate Keith Davis.
Good evening. Thank you so much for your attendance. Thank you, Cordova. Thank you, Senator Reed. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for all that you do each and every day to make Cordova and Walker County a better place to live. I'm your County Commissioner. I'm County Commissioner for District 1. I'm currently in my 3rd term. Last term I ran unopposed, and I thank the citizens for that. I get asked all the time, Keith, why did you want to be County Commissioner? And I get asked out on the campaign trail, Keith, why do you want to represent us in Montgomery and House District 13? And I always have the same answer. It's the same answer I've had for the past 10 years. I've been honored and blessed to serve you as your county commissioner. I point to a picture of my family on the back of this card, and I say that is why I do what I do day in and day out, period. I go to work every day to make Walker County a better place for my family to live and your family to live. I go to work every day to make Walker County and improve the quality of life for your family and my family every day. That's why I do what I do, period, end of discussion. If you ask me that question, that's what I tell you every time. On this card here, you also see my cell phone number. I'm highly accessible. I take great pride in that. If you need me, you call me, and I'll call you back. Again, we and I work for you. Elected officials work for you. Every county commission meeting, I end my county discussion, my comments with, you hire me and you fire me. My job is to work for you the best that I can, and that's what I take great pride in doing. My beautiful wife's here with me. We've been married 25 years. We've got 2 wonderful children. My wife is a high school educator. So to go along with that quality of life, how do we improve that quality of life? I'm going to give you 3 points. First point is we've got to bring jobs. We've got to continue to get high-paying jobs. When I took office 10 years ago, Walker County's unemployment rate was 10.5%. It's now 3.5%, but we've still got a lot of work to do in that area. Okay, we've got to keep recruiting and keep bringing in industry, keep building rooftops and houses, and keep getting retail to come into our area. That's what we got to continue to work extremely hard for. Second thing on that is education. We've got to support our school systems and support our teachers and our parents and our students. In 26 years, is what my wife has been an educator and been a high school counselor, and there's many a night we talk around the dinner table about what the students and what the teachers and what the administrators are facing each and every day. And so we know those challenges, and when we talk about those challenges. Third thing is we've got to continue to fight the drug problem we've got in Walker County. We've got an outstanding sheriff doing an outstanding job, and it's our job as citizens and at a county commission and state representatives and state senators to make sure that they have the resources and the needs and the funding to do their job. Those 3 things will increase the quality of life for the citizens in our great county. I love this little town, Cordova. I got to spend a lot of time this week riding around and seeing a lot of projects that's coming on. You know, hopefully the subdivisions coming in, the sewer projects that you've got working on. You've just got a tremendous opportunity here. This is a hidden gem here in Walker County with Birmingham coming this way with I-22. There's so much potential, so much things that we can do working together that I can help you in Montgomery, and that's my promise to you, is to help this area, to help this city to grow and provide the needs for your family and improve that quality of life for your family. One thing that's not on the back of this card, and I take great pride in this, I've been on my own since 16. I've put myself through college. I've paid every bill I've ever had. I've never taken a penny from anyone. All I know is hard work. And the promise I make to you, if you send me to Montgomery, I will work extremely hard for you. You've also got some other issues that we'll talk about and face and answering the question of how do we bring in and recruit jobs and bring industries in. We'll talk about that here on the follow-up question. But I asked you this. I asked you every time you see Keith Davis on the ballot, you vote Keith Davis. I promise you I'll work extremely hard to improve this quality of life and to continue to improve it for your family and my family. I humbly ask for your vote on May the 24th. May God bless you. May God bless Walker County. And may God bless the great state of Alabama. Thank you so much.
It is now my pleasure to introduce candidate Matt Dozier. First, I want to thank everybody for being here, for choosing to spend your Friday night here listening to us and taking an interest in what's going on. I'm also proud to be involved in a race where 5 people has been working for months trying to put themselves in a better position to do more for our community. No matter what happens, we all live here. We all live together. We want to make the best of this. So, tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a detective lieutenant at Jasper Police Department. I'm an 18-year law enforcement officer. I'm a member of the International Homicide Investigators Association. Been privileged to go to Washington, D.C. just in August to a training school there with homicide detectives from all over the world, not just the U.S. Made friends with a police chief in Germany. He works all their homicides and is just real informative, good class. I'm a member of the PBA also. The NRA, and you know, months ago I spent a lot of time researching different things and trying to decide whether I was going to run for state representative. And the main thing that got my attention is what's been going on for years in Alabama, and that's prison reform, the criminal justice system. What happens is, you know, a person's arrested, say on a violent crime, armed robbery. Somebody goes to the grocery store here and puts a gun to the clerk's head.
gets charged with first-degree robbery. They're arrested, the court process starts. 3, 4, or 5 years later, you may have a jury trial. Maybe we send the person to prison. The state of Alabama has no obligation to follow a circuit court judge's sentence. What I mean by that is if a judge sentences a violent criminal to 25 years, the state has no authority to abide by that. I'll give you a few examples. Number one, North Alabama, Sheffield, Alabama, small town, small police department. A patrol sergeant is chasing a car that won't stop for him. The vehicle is fleeing from him, turns into a Walmart parking lot. Any Walmart I've ever been to is pretty busy, usually all the time. The officer made a decision to do a pit maneuver on the vehicle. At that point, the officer was shot and killed by a man that had just gotten out of prison for killing his own father. The man was charged with murder, pled guilty to manslaughter, received 10 years. He did 3. 3 years for killing his father. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. If you get bored, you got a little time, Google it, go to YouTube, type it in and listen to the police chief up there and his emotional interview with the news crews. You're going to see him in tears, and he's going to talk about how the state and the system failed him. I've got a copy of the headline here from October 5th, 2021. It's not been a year ago. The chief says, "I've got to bury one of my officers this week because the system has failed us." Now, I could talk all night long. I think Aaron said we had 10 minutes. You probably don't want to hear me fuss all night. There's stories all over Alabama. I'll take you to one this week right here in Walker County where a state trooper chased a guy, ran from him. The guy just got out of prison for manslaughter, and I'm personally familiar with the case. The guy hadn't been out for long. The trooper had to pull his weapon on the guy. He felt like if he didn't, the man would have shot him and killed him. So I asked the trooper, I said, what if it would have been a young trooper? What do you think would have happened? He said, the guy would have killed the trooper. This guy should never be out of prison. He should not be out here on the streets for law enforcement to deal with or go into the grocery store with any of us. It just shouldn't happen. It's a problem. It needs to be fixed. So, I kept thinking maybe somebody else will do it, but that hadn't happened. And as I'm making my decision, I point to the Sheffield case because it's in the middle of me deciding what I'm going to do. Again, first week of October in 2021. The first week of October, the state called a special session. The governor called a special session, called the legislature in. There was 2 bills that come up. They were both prison reform bills. One that passed said that an inmate could get 1 additional year off of their sentence for good behavior. Well, they're in there because of bad behavior. I have 0 problem with 1 year off if they're doing the full sentence. Fine if we want to give them an additional year, but they're doing an 1/8 of a sentence for a violent crime. I've got a problem with that. It's got me fired up enough to where I've been in an 8-month-long race for state representative. I think you can all agree with me on that. We need to, as the sheriff said earlier, get behind our law enforcement. We're really just tying their hands. We're asking them to do a job, but we're making it impossible for them to do it. And that includes the district attorneys, our judges we elect. We've got some outstanding law enforcement officers. We've got an outstanding DA's office, some great judges. We're tying their hands. We need legislation that's tough on crime. If we don't, we're going to wind up like some of these northern states, and it's going to be just out of control. We need to fix it. So I'll move on. Taxes. I'm not for raising taxes on what I consider to be items of necessity, whether it be fuel or grocery or stuff you've got to have to live. If you've noticed, probably normal items and products you use every day, shampoo, whatever, it's gone up. Whatever you buy, wherever you buy it, you're paying more for it. So everything's gone up, probably but your paycheck. Mine hasn't. So I'm not for putting a greater burden on everyday people like myself. I hit a time clock every day. I understand what it's like. I understand the burden of more taxes. So I plan to sponsor a bill to eliminate taxes on groceries in Alabama.
Did you know that Alabama is one of 3 states in the U.S. to fully tax groceries? Fully tax. Some states have no tax on groceries, some have a reduced tax, but we're one of 3 to fully tax it. So essentially, we got to pay the government to support and feed our families. To me, that's just common sense. It's measures that help families that need it the most. If you've been to Walmart, it don't take long to spend $100, and when you get home, you hadn't bought anything. The tax isn't a lot of money, but it gives you a little more to spend on food and things that you need. My purpose is to put myself in a better position to do more to help people. I've served, for 18 years as a law enforcement officer. I've served with a bulletproof vest and a gun. I'm asking you to send me down to Montgomery to fight for you there. My experience is fighting for you. I'll continue to do that. The best way for me to serve and protect you at this point is to go to Montgomery and fight for you there. I appreciate your support May the 24th. Thank you for your time.
Now I will introduce, with pleasure, candidate Charlie Waits.
I promise I won't speak more than 10 minutes. Chris McCullough, if you're still here. Just a little bit about me. I'm an attorney. I've been a lawyer 17 years. I'll start out with a lawyer joke. Somebody told me once upon a time why sharks don't eat, or he asked me, why don't sharks eat lawyers? And I said, I don't know. There's some things even a shark won't eat. But not all lawyers are bad, but we get a bad rep. I have been a lawyer 17 years. It's not a fun profession. It's not an easy profession, but it does forge you. It trains you. You're fighting every day for your clients, whether it be divorce, whether it be criminal defense. In the criminal defense realm, I deal with constitutional issues. Our Constitution is a masterful document. It's a foundational document, and we all know that it's being eroded. So far in this campaign, I would say I've been to over 2,000 homes since October, and I get a lot of questions. I get questions. What do you think about Mama? Who are you going to vote for governor? What about the Senate race? What do you think? What do you think is the way to turn America around? Because we can all see it. We can all feel America slowly slipping away. We see it slowly dying in front of our faces, and people ask me about that. And so I think about it, and I've thought about it many years myself, because America is near and dear to me. But it's not it's not the big things, the major things that'll save us. It's the little things. It's the little things done right every day. So to those people I say, keep on playing football in places like Cordova. Keep on teaching the value of hard work. I played football once upon a time. I was a running back. Those were a lot slimmer days, a lot faster days for me. I've eaten too much Burger King and too much bacon since. But keep playing football. Teachers, keep teaching about Abraham Lincoln, about Thomas Jefferson, about our Declaration of Independence, about the Civil War and the hard times we've been through, about World War II, about World War I, about the Great Depression and all those things that I know my grandparents, especially with the Great Depression, had a memory of. And we need to keep putting those things in our hearts. We need to encourage the teachers to teach fundamentals. And I challenge all of you candidates who are running for superintendent. And I know you're doing worthy things and mighty things, but some of the basics have been lost. When my son was inducted into the National Honor Society, Junior National Honor Society last Friday, and I meant to tell him beforehand when he signed the book, sign in cursive, because I've taught my son cursive. He wasn't taught that in school. And I asked him afterward, because I didn't get to. I wasn't able to tell him. He said every student, every one of those smart students, rather than sign, printed. Now that might not seem like a major thing, but it is a major thing. It's a big thing. It's one of those little things that makes a big ripple into the future. Now, I'll talk about 4 specific things that I want to do something about. and I'll try not to be preachy. No, campaigning like I have, I've seen just about all the roads in Walker County. I've seen how bad they still are for the majority part. That tells me that the gas tax is not working. It's gone down to Mobile to dredge that port. Well, that's all great and good, but how's it helping Walker County? How's it helping Cordova? It's not. My eyes don't deceive me. We need to do something about the gas tax. You know, it would have been fair had they said, hey, all the tax paid in a county goes back to that county. All the counties would have been covered. But Montgomery didn't do that. Montgomery rarely does things that make sense. So we need to do something either to fix the law or get rid of it. Now, a year ago, we probably wouldn't have had a chance to do anything about it. But two things have happened. Their names are Biden and Putin. And they've turned the world upside down, Putin has, with his little foray or big foray into the Ukraine, but it's having ripples around the world. And we need to do something here at home, and we can do something by casting off the gas tax or making it work for us. Now, another thing I'll talk about, there's a, and I'm sorry if this offends anybody in the crowd, it very well might. But there's a school in Birmingham. It's a public charter school, so it gets state money, and I believe it gets money to the tune of $2 million a year. It's called Magic City Acceptance. It's a LGBTQIA school. I don't even know what IA means. But they get $2 million a year from the state, and they affirm people or kids between that, I think, 6th through the 12th grade, and I actually got it pulled up here on my phone. I think it's 1,535 students that they teach, and they affirm the LGBTQ lifestyle and transgender lifestyle. Now, we got to throw off this madness. If you got this part son, you're a boy. If you got this part daughter, you're a girl. Don't be confused for the rest of your life. No, we're doing our kids a disservice when we allow this to go on, and they'll have mental health issues for the rest of their life. We've been talking about mental health. We need to get back to the foundational basics and stop this madness from happening, because it's not happening in California. It's not happening in New York or New Jersey. It's happening less than an hour away in Birmingham. As far as law enforcement goes, we do have cracks in the system. I'm a criminal defense attorney, so I've seen the cracks. I've seen the criminals that get out too soon, that don't serve a full sentence. Well, for those violent offenders, we need to pass a law that says they serve 100% of their sentence. They can't be probated, they can't be given probation, and they can't be paroled early. If they lead to the death of another human, then that's fair to me. There has to be consequences. And as far as the sheriff and his battle with drugs, he's done a very good job, but I know he's frustrated because sometimes the bails are so low. Sometimes you get arrested, then you bail out drug traffickers, drug sellers. You know, for that, we can go to Montgomery. I can go to Montgomery and propose legislation that anybody charged with a crime of selling a drug or trafficking a drug gets a minimum of a $100,000 bond. Now, that's a hard bond to make. You probably won't be there. Actually, you'll probably be there until your trial. Plus, we need to have faster trials. We need to have trials within a year for drug offenders like that, who's selling poison to our children. I'm very excited of what was leaked from the Supreme Court. That shows that there's some sanity left in our country, and at least left in some of our elected officials. And we need to be ready in Alabama when that hits to make sure that no more children, unborn children, are killed within the four corners of our state. We can't do anything about California, New York, or wherever else that wants to engage in murder, but we can make sure that those little lives are protected here, because how can you have a future if you're killing your future? Now, as far as making Cordova bloom, we need to work on bigger and better jobs. We need to take advantage of the real estate that's right next to I-22. We're a natural place for a car plant, and the supporting industry that would help a car plant. Those jobs could be located, and actually Cordova could expand their city limits to include more of I-22, which would give more of a tax base. If you get those bigger jobs here, the retail jobs will follow. The restaurants will follow. Everything else will follow. Plus, we won't have to send people down to Mercedes in vans. They drive an hour and a half down there. Maybe it's time for people from Tuscaloosa, the Mississippi line, Madison County to come down here and go to work instead of us sending out our sons and daughters on the dangerous not well-paved roads that the gas tax was supposed to help. Maybe we can have those jobs here. And that's how you help a community. Jobs are the engine that drive life. And if we don't have good, high-paying jobs, then we're not going to be able to drive very far in life. But back to the little things, I'm glad. I'm glad Cordova is good at football. There's some kind of disconnect here in Walker County. I've noticed it. Been here since 2009. My ex-wife is from here. You know, and I don't know why people from Jasper tend to look down on people from the county, but it seems like they do sometimes. I just feel it. Keep on playing football. Keep whipping people all over the place. Keep playing basketball. Keep your robotics competition. Make it as good as possible. Make cheerleading as good as possible. Make the band play as good as possible. Play that national anthem with all your hearts, because if we don't teach America to our children, America dies. And that's why I want to go to Montgomery. I want to go fight for home. I want to fight for this place. I want to fight for my home, for my son, my wife Lori, who's there taking pictures of me. I don't ever think I look good in pictures, but anyway, you got to do it, I guess, when you're a candidate. But send me to Montgomery. I'm battle-hardened. I'm weathered. I've been through a lot of fights as an attorney, and I'm willing to fight more, because it's going to take fighting for the rest of our lives to make America keep on going. I thank Senator Reid for all the fighting he's done, and he's not through with his fighting. Please, on May 24th, vote me, Charlie Waits, as your next representative from House District 13. If you have any questions, I'll be around. Come up, ask me. Thank you so much.
And last but certainly not least is candidate Matt Woods.
Well, good afternoon, Cordova. Thank you so much for sticking around for this round of our speaking tonight. I want to thank Salute for Veterans for what you do in this community and for being a part of this event. And certainly I want to say a shout out to Renee Sides. I know she played a big part in having us here tonight. It's always good to be in Cordova. My name is Matt Woods. I'm a Republican candidate for House District 13. And if you'll indulge me, I just want to share a few things from my heart about who I am and why I'm running for House District 13. I'm a product of Walker County. I grew up not too far from here in the Providence community, in between Oakman and Parrish. Went to Oakman High School. Spent a lot of my childhood, though, right here in Cordova, Alabama, playing baseball. Where the high school now sits, there was ball fields there, and I spent several summers playing ball here. Made a lot of friends and really enjoyed this community growing up. I went on to Bevel State Community College, and again, passed right through this town on the way to Summerton every day for a year, and then to the Jasper campus before going to Auburn University. Received my degree in business management, and then moved back home as quickly as I could to marry my sweetheart from Carbon Hill, who's here with us tonight, the former Brandy Knowles. We've been married for 17 years, and we live in Jasper. We have a 12-year-old daughter named Camden. She attends Jasper City Schools, and we're very proud of her and thankful to be raising her here in Walker County. It's been a great experience raising her here, and we want to make sure it stays that way. My working career has been at Jasper Auto Sales, a business that was started by my father, Jim Woods, back in 1987. But we didn't come from a long line of car dealers or business owners. We come from a long line of blue-collared, hard-working, underground coal miners. That's a heritage that I share with thousands of people in this county, and many of them right here in Cordova. And I'll tell you something else I share in common, my family shares in common with a lot of folks in this county, and that's we have experienced the crippling effects the layoff in the coal industry can have on a family. I remember in the early 80s when my dad lost his job. I was just a young boy, and it was due to the recession at the time. But I remember wondering, how's Dad going to take care of us? How's he going to pay the mortgage? He had a young family of 6, and I have to relate with a lot of people in this county that's been right in that same position. Well, thankfully, he was able to start a business and grow that business from very little. And now 35 years later, it still stands, and I find myself as the owner there. And I get to experience the pains of rising taxes, dealing with regulations and mandates and things that get in the way of our ability to do our jobs and to retain our employees. I'll be a friend of small business. I want to see business encouraged here in Cordova and across this county. It's a big reason why I'm running, though, going back to the jobs that were lost. I always refer to it as the war on coal. And you don't have to look too far outside the city limits of Jasper to see the effects that the war on coal has had. You know, you see it right here in Cordova, Alabama. Businesses have closed. People have moved away. Our roads and bridges are suffering without that coal severance tax that always took care of our roads so well. And friends, I don't see a way forward unless we replace and backfill a lot of those jobs that we've lost. Not with just any old job, but with good paying jobs. The kind of jobs where you can have a career. The kind of jobs where you can have disposable income to take care of your family the way that you deserve to take care of them. That's what I want to see for this county. That's how we can move forward. You know, I think of another threat, though, here to Walker County, to House District 13, that's really not unique to the district. It's a problem we see all across rural Alabama. And that is that rural Alabama is becoming more rural. In Walker County, our last census proved it. Sure, the city limits of Jasper held on pretty well, but the rural part shrunk. Well, why is that? I think it might be because of the jobs. That's got to be a big part of it. But I think another reason is the lack of a really important piece of infrastructure, and that is the lack of high-speed broadband internet. You know, I talk about it every time I get up. It's that important to me. It used to be a luxury, high-speed internet. It's now a necessity. You don't have to look very far or drive down any of these roads very far, and you'll find a household that doesn't have it or doesn't have it in good supply. Why is that important? People need it to work from home now. Children need it to access their education. We saw that during COVID. It is a critical piece of infrastructure, and I'm going to work very hard, if elected, to encourage investment in our rural parts of this county and across this state to see it expanded. I think it's that important because a business can't locate here without it, and people won't stay in an area without it. And so I think that's one way that we can move forward. We rank 47th in the country in access to high-speed broadband internet. We also rank 49th, according to most polls, in education. I do believe that there's a correlation. So I think it's that important to work on. But I'm running for a lot of other reasons too, and I won't go through every one of them tonight, but I will say this. I want to make sure that we are preserving and defending our traditional family values, that we are taking care of the nuclear family and not letting it be degraded, that we are doing things that help families keep money in their pockets by keeping taxes low and looking for ways to reduce taxes every chance we get and cutting government waste. I want to make sure that we have safe communities for our families to grow up in and to attract these businesses and industries too by making sure that we are funding our law enforcement and first responders, that we are protecting them from those groups who would want to defund them and divert that funding to other social agendas. I won't allow that on my watch. You know, we always talk about education. Education is obviously very important to everybody. I've got a daughter in public schools. I've got 8 nieces and nephews in public schools that are going to be there for quite a while, so it's very important to me, and it's important to the future of this district to make sure that we are funding some very important career pathways from our elementary, middle, and high school and on into our college system, to make sure that we are encouraging high-wage and high-demand growth opportunities by providing a well-trained and highly credentialed workforce. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about those middle-skilled jobs, those jobs you use your hands with. Those things like plumbers and pipe fitters and welders and machinists, tool and die, CDL truck drivers, those are the types of jobs that business and industry are looking for. We've got to provide them with a product they need, and that is a well-trained workforce. It's not any one thing that brings a business here, it's all these things. And I want to make sure that we are working on the things that matter here in this district. I tell you, I'm also going to stand strong for our constitutional rights, our First and Second Amendment, making sure that we also want you to know that I'm 100% pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception. I'm very thankful and prayerful that the developments with the Supreme Court continue and that we can look here in Alabama very soon and say that abortion is no more. But I tell you this, if we're going to be 100% pro-life, and I am, we also have to be 100% pro-adoption. Because when the day comes and we end abortion here in Alabama, we're going to have a lot of babies that are going to be given the opportunity of life. And we're going to have to make sure that we are doing things to make it easier for those families to adopt a child, make it less expensive in a much faster process. I want to make sure that we are promoting and pushing policies that allow that to happen. I love being here in Cordova because it feels like my childhood. I remember driving by here and seeing all the buildings and businesses that were here, and I've spent a great amount of time at the schools over the years, and they are fantastic schools. And I'll tell you, I don't know that I ever beat Cordova High School in anything I ever played. I went to Oakman, and we never beat them. So I've got a lot of respect for your athletics. I know that how important it is to you here. You've got a lot of pride around that school, and I'm certainly proud of that. But I want to see this community be proud for other reasons. I want to see these buildings come back here. I want to see businesses here. I want you to drive out to the interstate and see subdivisions and retail establishments. I want you to drive up by the river and see industrial opportunities and people working. I want to see this place buzzing once again and be proud for that. And I hope that you'll give me the opportunity to do that. I'll close with this. You know, being in business the last 35 years, you learn a lot of things. And probably the most important lesson I ever learned was not in college. It wasn't from a book. I actually learned it from my father. When I started making decisions about buying and selling, when I started making promises with customers, he told me something. He said, Matt, when you make a promise, you have to keep it. No matter how much it hurts, no matter how much it costs, we have to do what we say we're going to do. Our word is important. Trust is important. And that's how I've operated in my business. That's how I've operated in my personal life. And that's how I want to operate as your representative. If I make a promise, I want to keep it and I will honor it. And for that reason, I understand that the cost of making promises is very high. So I don't make a lot of them, but I will make you a couple promises tonight. I will work hard for you. I will be engaged in the issues that are important to this district, to this community, and our state to move it forward. And I'll be accessible to you. You can come up to my dealership. You can come to my office anytime you want. You don't have to have an appointment. You can sit down across the desk from me and we can talk about the things that are important to you. I want you to hear your solutions for the problems we face. I don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody has all the answers. We need your solutions to the problems we face here in Cordova and Walker County and across this state. And I want to be your voice in Montgomery to make sure that we're working hard to see those things resolved. I'm Matt Woods. I'm asking you to trust me with your vote May 24th in the Republican primary. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and God bless.
Man, that's some great information, guys, from all 5 candidates, so thank you, guys. Now I will pose the question in which candidate Greg Barnes will be the first to respond. Again, after each response, I will ask the same question to the next candidate and give each candidate 5 minutes to respond. The question is, all right, Cordova has struggled and not fully recovered since 2011. Based on your knowledge of our area, what, if elected, will you work toward to assist us in improving our city? And what do you see as Cordova's pathway to the future? Mr. Barnes, you have 5 minutes.
Well, Cordova's pathway to the future is to have someone that really wants to see this area succeed. One thing I've noticed about Cordova, when I first came here, one of the first people I met was the mayor of Cordova, who is, in my opinion, one of the sharpest guys I've encountered throughout my candidacy. He knows everything about this city. He's outstanding. I met a councilman here. They have the right ideas about moving Cordova forward. They need assistance in doing that. I will work with them. If he calls, I'm going to be here. I'm not going to be doing something else. I'm going to come out and see him. I'll work with the city of Cordova any way I can to enhance and bring prosperity here. There's a lot of opportunities that I see from the outside that I'm curious about why it hasn't been done already, as far as from a development standpoint, because that's what I do. I look at things a little bit different than most people do. And we'll get into that should I be elected, and I'll work hard with him to make those things happen. I want to see jobs like everyone else come to Cordova. I'd love to see a nice restaurant here. I'd like to see a hotel here. I want to see it grow. You have a golden opportunity. Like I said, it's Walker County's sleeping giant. And I mean that. I've been all over the District 13 and all over Walker County. I don't understand why it's lagged so long. But I'll work diligently to improve that and to improve your road systems and to do everything I can for the city of Cordova. So thank you very much. Remember Greg Barnes, and I'll work for you every day. You won't be disappointed.
Keith Davis. Cordova has struggled and not fully recovered since 2011. Based on your knowledge of our area, what would you do, if elected, to work toward to assist us in improving our city? And what do you see as Cordova's pathway to the future? You also have 5 minutes.
Thanks so much. I see Cordova's pathway to the future bright. I see it bright because it all comes down to leadership. Ronald Reagan said it best. He said, in the end, it all comes down to leadership. Cordova, you have got great leaders here at your mayor and your council and your citizens that's working, this industrial board, and the things that they're working on. I've been keeping up with it on Facebook and so impressed with what you've got going on at this time. Your future's bright because of your school system. One of the best schools in the state of Alabama, hands down, what you've got going on. The robotics program and the many other programs that we're so proud of this Walker County and the things that you are doing, your technical schools and the things that you're training. How do we get growth here in Cordova? We work with a local board like this board. We work with the Walker County Industrial Board that now is focused solely on Walker County, expanding that. We work with the local leaders and do the things that we need to do, but you got 3 key things that you've got to have. This is where experience matters when you elect leaders to go to Montgomery. You got to bring rooftops. You got to bring houses into Cordova. The subdivision that you're working hard, that your council and your mayor's working hard on, I got to look at that land this past week. That's potential. With rooftops will come retail. I've been in the real estate business for over 20 years. I've been a business owner for 30 years. I've started many businesses successfully. I know what small business owners are looking for. You need rooftops. I've personally brought over 400 new rooftops to Walker County in those 20 years. I've got developers, I've got builders that I work with on a day-to-day basis. Get the rooftops. With the rooftops will come retail. With retail will come industry. They all 3 go hand in hand. And me and your mayor had a real good meeting this week, and we talked about the snowball. Once you get that snowball rolling here in Cordova, as close as you are to Birmingham, as close as you are with I-22, once that snowball starts, get ready. The future of Cordova is bright because you've got bright leaders. You've got outstanding teachers and administrators right up the road working hard every day to educate our students. This community is strong because you care for each other. We were all working hand in hand after the tornadoes to come through. I see the love that you have for this community, and that will equal success. So the future of Cordova is bright, but we've got to work on those 3 things. Keep electing good leaders and keep working together. And on this race here, experience matters, folks. We've got to elect the candidate that walks in Montgomery on day 1. That's worked for the past 10 years to get the relationships in Montgomery and the proven track record that's brought unemployment down from 10.5% to 3.5%. That's worked with the industrial boards to make sure they've got the funding. That's what I've done. Send me to Montgomery, and I'll continue to do the same thing. I will work extremely hard for you every day and continue to help Cordova make their future bright. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless you. Thank you.
Candidate Matt Dozier. Cordova has struggled and not fully recovered since 2011. Based on your knowledge of our area, what, if elected, will you work toward to assist us in improving our city? And what do you see as Cordova's pathway to the future? Mr. Dozier, you have 5 minutes.
In 2011, when the tornadoes come through here, a friend of mine was the police chief here, Kenneth Bobo. I called Kenneth afterwards, said, where do you need me? What do you need me to do? And so I came down to help, and drove into, well, you all know, it was a war zone. There's no way to describe it if you wasn't here, didn't see it. It's absolutely awful. But what I saw there, you know, as bad as it was, in that difficult time, you saw people coming together, neighbors helping neighbors, strangers helping strangers. Be real great if that happened on a daily basis without tragedy. Tragedy has a way to bring people together, unfortunately. Cordova's a special place, and the resource and tools are in place here, and that's the people. You know, you think of sports, if you're not from here, when you say Cordova, you think football, you know, sports teams. My son grew up playing ball on these ball fields for Cordova. So it's the people, the resources are here. Cordova's a passionate group of people. When we started playing ball, when my son was old enough to, I kind of felt like I'm an outsider. I'm not from here. I didn't go to school here. I live in Jasper. But I was absolutely welcomed. And, you know, we've heard for years and years about I-22 and what it would do and what it would bring to Walker County. And, you know, it passes right through this city. I think a few of the candidates talked about it. And it's not one of us doing it. It's not Greg doing it by himself. It's all of us getting on board and, you know, fighting, pushing, making things happen. As your state representative, I don't know it all. I need a round table. I need a group of folks with experience in different areas. Let's team up, let's work together, and let's make things happen. I can't think of anything on this level that you can do by yourself. I'm sure the mayor would agree. You need help. None of us know everything. So if you elect me, I want to work with you. Whoever's elected for this seat, I plan to work with them for the betterment of Walker County as a whole, and Cordova also. Let's take advantage of what I-22 is supposed to do for this area and what it's supposed to do for Cordova. Let's make it happen and not just talk about it. Thank you.
I'd say that was perfect timing. And now we will bring... All right, I think it's gone. So now we'll bring up candidate Charlie Waits. Mr. Waits, I'll read the question again. Cordova has struggled and not fully recovered since 2011. Based on your knowledge of our area, what, if elected, will you work towards to assist us in improving our city? And what do you see as Cordova's pathway to the future? Sir, you have 5 minutes.
Well, one thing I'd like to do, if elected, I'll look for the money to help revitalize Cordova's downtown. Most cities around have a downtown, and Cordova used to. But we all know why it doesn't, all that tragedy that happened. This land is still here, this land is still usable, but money is always the issue. So if I'm elected, I'll look for grants, for money. You know, if we can use COVID money for prisons, certainly we could use COVID money to build a few buildings in downtown Cordova to give businesses a place to locate. That would help the citizens here. Now, the path forward, just from talking with the mayor, talking with citizens around here, I think it's a dual path forward. You've got to take advantage of the natural resources. Disney Lake is beautiful. I drove over there one day when I was taking a break from my campaign, and I just thought, man, I'd rather be fishing than going door to door today. So we need to take advantage of the recreational opportunities from the waterway that we have and build that up and attract people from Alabama and this area and make Cordova known as a recreation hotspot, as a place to rest, as a place to rejuvenate. But with I-22, it just doesn't have to be a recreation hub. It can be a business hub. I mean, we're on the Warrior River. We know we have rail, we have interstate, and we have water. So we have everything needed to bring in business and to bring in large business. And I'll talk louder. Anyway, trains, I guess that's part of what we've got here, and one of the things, the examples that we have that we can take advantage of between the rail and the interstate, we can lure those big industries here to drive the economy, to drive people. As Keith Davis said, you got to get rooftops. Rooftops and industry go hand in hand. If you build the jobs, it's kind of like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they'll come. If you build the business, workers will come, and those workers will come and they'll live in Cordova. They'll live here. They'll live where they work. So if we bring the jobs, if we build it, they'll come here, they'll come home to Cordova, make this a home, and instead of a decrease in population, we'll have an increasing population here. Instead of so many people trying out for the football team, you'll have double, which will be a wonderful problem to have. The basketball team will be stronger, the football team will be stronger, competition will be stronger, and everybody in the community will be better. So that's what I'd like to do if I'm elected. That's what I'll focus on for here and for every other community in the district in Walker County. And to the extent I'm able to help everywhere in Alabama, I'll do that too. So on May 24th, please vote me. Please vote Charlie Waits for House District 13. Thank you so much.
All right, candidate Matt Woods. Cordova has struggled and not fully recovered since 2011. Based on your knowledge of our area, what, if elected, will you work towards to assist us in improving our city? And what do you see as Cordova's pathway to the future? Mr. Woods, you have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Well, I want to start out by telling you what I don't want. And I don't want to see my daughter or your child or grandchild have to leave this community or anywhere else in Walker County to get a good paying job or have the quality of life that they deserve to have. And in Cordova, Alabama, there's nothing new I'm going to say here, by the way. There is water, there is rail, there's an interstate. This place is blessed with more natural resources than anywhere else in Walker County. And there's no reason it shouldn't be flourishing even today. And I know it's a proud community. I share in the pride in this community. I know what you had here before the tornadoes, and it hurts my heart to see it not be what it once was, but I think it can be. And I know you want it to be. I know the mayor and the town council and CEIDA have great ideas and have talked to a lot of folks about developing here. And there's only one real barrier in my mind as to why this town hasn't necessarily come back from the tornadoes. And it all comes down to money, to resources, to funding. How do we get those rooftops out by the interstate? How do we get the industrial folks to locate down here on the river at the state docks? How do we get an incubator to come here downtown Cordova and house small businesses and encourage entrepreneurship? It all comes down to funding. It comes down to grants and resources. And that's something that I will assure you I will be engaged in if elected your representative. I'll be engaged with the Department of Commerce, with ADECA, with ALDOT, with all of those grant-making organizations in Montgomery to provide your resources here for this city, for our industrial development boards, for the Walker County Industrial Development Board, to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward, building out our infrastructure. We have to be thinking 5 and 10 years down the road. Nothing happens fast in industrial development or residential development in some cases. We've got to be building out our infrastructure, getting water and sewer out to the interstate. making sure that we are putting ourselves in a position to provide economic incentives to attract business and industry here. Now, grant making is something that I have a little bit of experience with the Walker Area Community Foundation. This pavilion that we are standing in right now, I was fortunate to be assigned the grant application a few years back. I sat down with the mayor, I sat down with Ms. Sides, and they presented their application to me, and I was happy to play a small role in that and helping provide the resources for this facility. And I tell you what, it's getting used a lot. I've been here quite often, and there's always a festival or an event, and it really makes me proud to see the activity that's happening here. And it's on a small scale, but that's the kind of things it takes to move forward. And I want you to know that's all I want, is to create jobs, to create opportunities for your children to not have to leave this area, and to spur on economic investment. You know, we often talk about industrial development. We talk about economic development. I want to talk about community development, which encompasses all of those things, including housing, including retail, including those industrial opportunities. It takes all of that working in tandem, working with our school system to move forward. And so I guess that's my pledge to you, that if I'm elected, I'll be looking for the money, because it takes money to move things forward and to have investment and to build up this town. I know the pride that exists here. I love talking to people from Cordova. You can see their eyes light up when they talk about the glory days at the school, when they talk about the businesses that used to be here. It makes me kind of swell with pride, even though I'm not from here. I want to work hard for you. I want to make sure that this is a great place for you and your families to live, and I'm asking you for your support and your vote. May 24th in the Republican primary, I will work hard for you to make this town what it can be and what it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you coming out tonight, sharing your platform with us, your goals and aspirations and dreams for our area. I just want to take, first off, Mayor Petty, if you'll come up. Before I hand it over to him, I just want to say a few things. You know, we are a rich community here. We may not have a lot of money, but we're rich in family, and we're rich in friends, and we're rich in fellowship. And we have a lot of people who care about each other here. We adopted the slogan, Cordova, a majestic place to come home. And some people laughed at it, and that's okay. I don't really care, because they don't know the resources that we have here. They don't know how rich we are with the things that I just mentioned, but we are a rich community here. And it is a majestic place to call home. We have a majestic school system. We have a majestic city hall and organizations, volunteer organizations that work their butts off for this town, and it doesn't go unnoticed either. But if you get out on I-22 and you ride through these foothills, or if you get on our back roads and just drive through the woods and with the windows down with your kids on a Sunday evening, there's nothing like it. Put in a kayak up here at Cane Creek and drift down to Disney Lake, and you'll see how majestic this city is. Come be a part of the bass tournaments that we have at Disney Lake that reach down to Mulberry Fork and back up into Sipsey, and see how majestic this home is. It's a beautiful place. We're 30 minutes from the largest city in the state of Alabama. From downtown Birmingham, it takes 30 minutes to get to downtown Cordova. People want to know why we don't have a downtown. It's not from lack of trying, I promise you that. Those are privately owned lots with people that don't want to do anything with it. And those are hurdles that we have to face and red tape that we have to cut through and fight through to make something happen in this town. And we may not have the footprint to be an industrial hub or an economical hub in this state, and we're good with that. But what we do have to offer are the resources that they spoke about. The river, the hiking trails that are being developed. We want to focus Cordova in being a recreational hub. There will be some industry that comes with that, and we're good with that too. We've come a long way since 2011, and they were talking about the glory days of the football and sports that go on in our community. but our glory days are ahead of us. We have a lot to be proud of in this town. I love this city. I'm from here. I was born and raised here. And just like these guys behind me, I'll fight for this city too. With that, I want to bring up Mayor Pate, and he'll close us out. One more thing before I switch it over to him. We have, if anybody's here that's not registered to vote, and you want to be registered to vote, we have some voter registration forms up here. So please come see me. I'll be glad to help you get registered. We have barbecue plates for $10, and I'm sure if you're hungry enough, they'll make you a deal. So buy one, get one free. Stop and take some home to your family, wife and kids that couldn't be here. Salute for Veterans is a wonderful group. We help our veteran communities. People's talked all night about mental health, and that's our main focus, is helping our veterans that suffer with mental health. And so any veteran that you know that may be down on their luck, that needs assistance, send them to us. If you'll go on our Facebook page, Salute for Veterans, you'll find a lot of information there. CEIDA, which I'm also a part of, if you'll go on our Facebook page, CEIDA, it stands for Cordova Economic Industrial Development Authority. If you'll go on our Facebook page, you'll see our upcoming events. We have Take a Kid Fishing Day that's upcoming right here in downtown. We have a 4th of July celebration that's upcoming. We have the Indian Head Harvest Fest, which will take place in the fall. And we also have our Christmas market, which will take place in December. One more thing, I'll get to you, I promise. People ask us, why are y'all always putting on festivals in town? Why do y'all do that? Is that what you want to spend your money on? The answer is yes, that's what we want to spend our money on, because our job as an industrial board is to bring people into this town, and we do a good job of it. One of my proudest moments in being part of the Economic and Industrial Board, we were having a festival here. It was Indian Head Harvest Fest of 2021. We were set up down here listening to some music, and there was a couple from Indianapolis that got off the interstate, and they made a wrong turn. They were wanting to go south to Berry, Alabama. Instead, they ended up in downtown Cordova at the same time that we were having a festival. We got to talking, and they spent hours with us down here. And we asked them, what are y'all doing here from Indianapolis? And they were like, well, we want to live small town Alabama. We're here looking for a house. We have jobs where we can pick up and move if we need to. We're just trying to find a home. For whatever reason, they were going to Berry, and they ended up in Cordova. And while they were here, we got to talking with them, exchanged some information with them. They ended up buying a house on River Road in Cordova. And that might not seem like a lot to some people, but that's a huge accomplishment for me. To bring people from different states into our city is huge. We're working on the housing development now on the river. It's also huge, and I'll let Jeremy, I don't know what he's gotten in store, but I'll let him piggyback off of that if he wants to. I just want to thank you guys for coming tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being invested in our future and wanting to get the facts on these candidates. It's very much appreciated that you've been here. And for all of our candidates that have been here today, I just want to say thank you for coming and sharing your word. God bless you all.
Well, once again, I appreciate all y'all coming out tonight. I appreciate Aaron for taking over and emceeing this tonight for Miss Sides. She got sick and couldn't come, and so all the hard work that she put into getting this together was magnificent. She always does a good job. Without CEIDA in this city, you wouldn't see all these extra events and things that go on because our city budget doesn't allow for that. So the things that they do outside of what we're able to do is what's spurring some of this growth that we're seeing. And I'm very proud of them, and I'm very proud of the fact that they're willing to do this on their own time and volunteer, and it just makes my heart happy for that because, you know, not everybody's wanting to be a volunteer. I want to thank these, all the candidates tonight for being willing vessels. You know, it takes, even if the job's a paying job, it's 24 hours a day. It don't stop when you hit the clock and go home. You know, so just being a willing vessel is a good thing. I've heard a lot of good ideas tonight, and I just pray that whoever wins these elections, that piggyback off some of those ideas that these other guys have had and kind of work with them to kind of bring Walker County into the future with, you know, with all these good ideas that I've heard. You know, I want to thank Sheriff Smith for all the support that he gives our police force. You know, without his leadership, we wouldn't have the good police chief that we have now. You know, he mentored him along as when he was young and actually, you know, brought him out of high school into the law enforcement. So, you know, he started about young, and we're proud of that, and we appreciate all his hard work and his support that he gives our city for everything he does. We especially want to thank Senator Greg Reed just for being the person he is. Not set aside from a senator, he's a great person, and but he does a great job as a senator, and I can say that from just the things that we've shared and the work that he does for this city and all other cities in his counties and towns in his district. His office is top notch. His people that work for him are top notch. If you email him, you can guarantee you're going to get a response within 5-6 hours from him, not from somebody that works for him. So I'm very proud to be associated with him. He's done a lot for this city, and I look forward to working with him in the future. I look forward to working with whoever is representative in District 13 to grow this city, to do the things necessary to bring the industry in, to get the rooftops, to do the things that it's going to take to bring this city back. I'm committed to doing the things necessary. I'm here every day. When them trains go by, it don't make me mad that they blow that horn, because I spent 24 years on a locomotive. I spent a lot of time up there blowing that horn, and if it wasn't for those guys going through here, then I wouldn't be able to have the retirement that I have, to be able to spend 8-10 hours a day out here working for this city and making it better. So I appreciate everybody that came out tonight, and look forward to the future. Thank you.